That's a great question. Well, first of all, those are probably the top because basics and fundamentals are called that for a reason. And you would be surprised how many people don't do the basics and the fundamentals, right? But I read this quote once, and I can't remember who said it, and I don't know if I'm going to get it exactly right, but it's this: how you sleep depends on how you wake up. So what does that mean? Your sleep quality depends about what you do throughout the entire day before you go to sleep. Most people just focus on what to do when they're sleeping because they're getting ready to sleep. Then I'm going to go into your lifestyle and ask about, okay, what do you do or not do during the day? And I can tell you this much: if you're coming in to see me and you've been everywhere else, I already know one answer: you're not doing lymph and you're not doing glymph. So I would do that first, and I would make sure that I'm well hydrated. And then I do a breathing screen to see where you're breathing from, your nose or your mouth. Are you going from your shoulders? Or are you going from your abdomen? And how long you can hold your breath before you got to breathe. That's called a body oxygen level test, a BOLT test. Because if you can't hold your breath for a long period of time, I know you can't optimize oxygen in your body. It can't get to the tissues, and we need to work on that, right? The lower that score is, the sicker you are, the more inflammation that you have. And you would probably not be surprised, because you're in this world, of how many people are really awful at that.
Yeah.
Right. And so optimizing that breathing, optimizing the lymphatics that you're doing. But then I'm going to look at the rest of your life as well. Maybe, just maybe, you're living in a toxic emotional environment, in a relationship, in a work environment. Maybe you have a toxic relationship with yourself because you hate your body and you hate yourself because it's not getting better, and you're all this negative talk. Or you hate the way you look, and maybe you've always hated the way you look because of societal norms and what people expect you to do. Those are always going to increase the nervous system's sympathetic response and neuroinflammation. And then you're going to feel that at night when you're trying to sleep. So I would tell people to take an inventory of who you spend the most time with, and take a break from some blue screen time that's inside of any type of device. And if you choose to go on any device, watch your time on social media, because that will pull you into the sinkhole of hell and pain and inflammation, because it's toxic. There's very few places on the internet that are supportive. Just go spend a little time on Twitter, point proven, right? Go outside in this thing they call nature, where you have trees and you have dirt, and don't bring anything with you but yourself, and spend some time there. Hug a tree, grab a tree, put your body around it, and let that connection, there's an energetic connection between that. And one of my favorite books that I read was The Secret Life of Trees, I think it's the name of it. You read that book, that'll change your life. Like, you would never do anything to a tree ever again when you realize how much those things interconnect with each other, because you're also breathing in the bacteria and the fungi out there that are going to heal your microbiome as well. And then take your shoes off and put your feet on the earth. And that's called grounding. But it's also just a connection that's innate. And another one that I started doing, I'll be honest with you, I know we might be running long on time, is that I started to look at, okay, what are the things that we did thousands of years ago when we didn't have all this technology? And you just had to, one, spend time with other human beings, have quality conversations. But everybody would gather around this thing called a fire, because you didn't have light. And you're gathering in a circle. And that circle has healing to it as well. But then you light the fire and something happens. It's in your DNA from your ancestors. It hasn't gone anywhere, where you're looking at the light and the flames and the changing flames. You automatically feel yourself relax. But then people had their own entertainment. and it's called stories. He would tell you stories. That's why we learn through stories. We don't learn through information and data. You like to think you do, but you don't. And then watch what happens to human beings, how they change when they begin to, it's a little darker too. So you feel you can come out of your shell, you open up a little bit, you share things, you know, but you can do that just with yourself. So I'll tell people, try if you can to stare inside some type of flame before you go to sleep, and turn off that crap to look at anything at least an hour, some say 2 hours before you go to bed. I have a really novel idea. How about you start a fire? You sit down there, you do your big 6, you breathe in and out through your nose, right? Write in your affirmation journal a little bit about something that you're grateful for that day and something that may have crushed you, but I want you to find a positive spin on it, because there is one, whether you know it's there or not. And then I want you to let me know if your sleep changes. And I know the answer.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Perry, for that. I think that's a refreshing answer to a question. I think it's so easy these days to go to the, well, just think about blue lights and, you know, the kind of the typical response, but you've given
melatonin, right?
Yeah, you've given so many different strategies, and as you say, it starts with how you wake. So getting outside in nature and thinking about the first hour of your day as much as the last hour of your day is just so important.
Yeah, you always have to remember, man, there's a human being that is attached to the tissues that you're working on, the diagnosis that they've been given, and the label that they've been given and that they've assumed. Never forget that, and always go back to the statement that I mentioned in the beginning about everything working together, right? Yeah. We're so detached in healthcare today, where we want to blame something, we want to attack something, we want to destroy something or kill something. I mean, that happens all the time in the vernacular of, you know, cancer and COVID and all that sort of stuff. But no, I'm resonate more along the lines of the Eastern medicine philosophy of interactions, yin and yang, relationships, you know, quote unquote, you're right or wrong. But, you know, I drop those words now and just use the word different. And that in and of itself can make a huge shift in your body. And watching the language that you use, the words that you use, and how you talk to yourself, not just you know, out loud, but, you know, in here. Yeah, because it's usually not so supportive. I put a post up on Instagram this week that I was just sitting in my light bed doing my meditation, and I put it up, and it seemed to resonate with people. Be kinder to yourself and you feel better. Be meaner to yourself and you don't. You choose. And the operative word is there, you. You choose. Oh, it's not easy, but nobody said it was going to be easy. But it gets easy the more you do it, and it can be transformational, because people are so mean to themselves. It's astounding.